couple other areas where this university has been involved in HUD initiatives. Just this past year, Charlotte region was chosen for one of the HUD Sustainable Communities grant programs and our awards. UNC Charlotte's going to be an important partner on that, doing some of the research, looking at metrics and measuring our success. Also in a nearby community, Salisbury, a small town here of about 30,000 people, was, I believe, one of the first communities chosen for the Choice Neighborhoods program of HUD. Talk about those two programs for some of the people seeing this interview who maybe aren't as familiar with them, but maybe hearing more about them in the years ahead.
Yep. Well, let me frame it this way. Our Sustainable Communities program is really about how do we do a better job thinking about and planning at the federal level in partnership with universities like UNC Charlotte, local governments, county governments, regional entities, chambers of commerce, and others. How do we do a better job planning what we want our cities and our regions to look like? Too often in the past, we've had a federal response which is, well, you know, the transportation department's going to work to put in roads over here. The housing department is going to put in housing over here. There might be schools put in, and there's been so little coordination between them. And what we've ended up with is the average family, American family, now spends over 50 cents of every dollar they earn just on housing and transportation combined. And for our businesses, it's 5 times more expensive to move goods on our roads and our transportation systems than it was even 25 years ago. This was exacerbated by the housing crisis that we saw, where we had sort of what I call a drive to qualify culture. You couldn't afford a house in Charlotte? Well, drive a half hour outside the city, maybe you could afford a house there. Couldn't afford it there? Drive another half an hour until you could finally find something you can afford. But what we weren't thinking about is the cost to families of those transportation alternatives, and frankly, the way families were cut off from jobs and other things they needed to access opportunity, to step up that ladder of opportunity. Yeah. And so what we've done is to work very closely with universities, with local governments, with the business community to say, instead, how do we bring our planning together? What does Charlotte want Charlotte to look like? What's the vision for this community as it grows? And certainly Charlotte has been a successful city over the last few decades. What should that growth look like, and how do we make sure that growth happens in a way that Charlotte's going to be competitive going forward? I worked for Mike Bloomberg as mayor in New York City, and one of the things he realized, you know, in the old economy, it used to be that companies would decide where they wanted to locate. In Charlotte, you might have had a rail hub, or Atlanta. You might have been on a lake like Chicago, or close like Birmingham, Alabama. You might have been close to iron ore or something that really fed those businesses. Companies moved there, people followed to get jobs. In this economy, where we're more of an information economy, companies are following people. People are deciding where they want to live, particularly graduates of UNC Charlotte or other well-educated folks. They're deciding, hey, I want to live in a place with a good quality of life where, you know, I'm not going to get rid of my car, but I can walk to a restaurant, to a movie. My kids can get to school on a bicycle. I can get home in 15 minutes and spend more time with my kids. I'm the father of 2 young boys. I don't want to be spending 2 hours commuting every day. And so more and more, as an economic development driver, cities and regions like Charlotte are saying, hey, how do I create neighborhoods that people want to live in, and how do I take advantage of the infrastructure, the existing neighborhoods that are there, rebuild them, and create an opportunity for families to live close in to where jobs are. And that's really the partnership that we've put together. A $5 million grant to this region, including UNC Charlotte as one of the partners. We were very excited about your participation in that. And frankly, the partnership of a strong research university made us confident. It was one of the things that made us confident that this was the right grant. And we only awarded 1 out of 10, so it was very, very competitive around the country. Choice Neighborhoods is a little bit the neighborhood version of what I just described. Too often in the past, where we've built public housing, we haven't thought about the whole lives of families, particularly poor families living in disadvantaged neighborhoods. So we might build new bricks and mortar, but nobody's worried about making sure there was a good school there, or where are the health clinics going to be? What about criminal justice? Is it going to be a safe neighborhood. And so what Choice Neighborhoods is trying to do is the same thing. Bring together the federal response, coordinate it, make it more efficient and effective by bringing these pieces together, and then work with local communities, whether they be small communities, like the award that we made here, or a city like Charlotte, to work together to say, let's bring all these pieces together. We're gonna rebuild the housing and create decent, safe housing, but at the same time, we're gonna make sure that there's a top quality school. We've brought in the Justice Department and their Burn Criminal Justice program, which helps to create community policing and other innovative efforts to create more safe streets. We've brought in community health clinics from Health and Human Services. All of those pieces have been brought together so that we're trying to create, as the name would suggest, a neighborhood of choice, a neighborhood where families choose to live, where they want to live, and where they believe raising their children, they're going to have real opportunity. You know, it's tragic that in too many communities around this country, you can predict the lifespan of a child by their zip code.
Yep.
And that's just not right. And Choice Neighborhoods is trying to turn that around.